Something didn't feel normal. A man kept coming to my clinic. 3 times in 3 weeks. First, he said he had a cough, then back pain, now chest pain. But every time, the tests were normal. No fever, no clear signs of sickness. He spoke only a few words. When I asked questions, his answers were short. A little. Sometimes. Not really. As a doctor, my job is to help people. But this man confused me. He looked healthy. He didn't ask for any medicine. He didn't look scared. He just kept coming back. I started to wonder, was he hiding something? Did he need help but didn't know how to ask? Or was something else going on? Today, I saw his name again. Same man. New reason. Headache. I took his file. I tried to stay calm, but inside, I had questions. Why was he here again? Why did I remember his voice after every visit? Why was this patient so different? I called his name. He came in and sat down. He said, "I have a headache." I nodded and asked my usual questions. But something felt different. This wasn't just a normal visit. I could feel it. Next week, he returned again. This time, stomach pain. The tests were fine again. I asked, "When did it start?" "Yesterday," he said. "Did you eat something strange?" "No." "Any other symptoms?" "Not really." Every visit felt the same. Different problems. Same short answers. Same silence. No real sickness. No clear reason. I began to think more deeply. Was he lonely? Was he afraid? Was he anxious? Or was this something else? I wanted to ask him directly. But I didn't want to make a mistake. Maybe he just felt safe here. Or maybe it was more personal. One day, I talked to the nurse about him. I said, "This patient comes very often. I don't think he is really sick." She looked surprised and said, "Maybe he just likes you." I was silent. That thought had never crossed my mind. I said, "No, that can't be true." But her words stayed with me. What if she was right? What if he wasn't coming for medicine? But for me. After that, I couldn't stop thinking. Every time I saw his name on the list, my heart beat a little faster. I tried to stay professional, but I couldn't stop feeling something. Another week passed. Another visit. This time, he said he felt dizzy. I asked the usual questions. He gave the usual answers. I did the usual tests. All normal. "You are okay," I said. He replied, "Okay." But this time, he didn't leave right away. He looked at me and said, "Thank you." I nodded. Then he walked out slowly. After he left, I sat at my desk and looked at his file. 5 visits in 5 weeks. Different reasons. No diagnosis. I said to myself, what is going on? I help people. That's my job. But I didn't know how to help him, because I didn't understand why he was really here. The next week he came back, but this time, he didn't complain about a health problem. He said, "I just want to talk." I asked, "Talk about what?" He said, "About stress." That was new. He started speaking slowly. "I feel tired, but not because of work. I feel confused, but not about life." Then he stopped. I asked, "What is confusing you?" He looked down. He didn't answer. I waited. He said, "Nothing important." But I knew that wasn't true. I wanted to ask more, but something stopped me. It didn't feel like a normal doctor-patient talk anymore. It felt like something else. Something personal. The next day, he didn't come. A week passed. Then 2. No call. No appointment. Nothing. I felt strange. I checked the schedule. His name wasn't there. I told myself, maybe he's better now. Maybe he doesn't need to come anymore. But deep inside, I missed him. Then, one morning, his name showed up again. I felt surprised. And something more. He came in. He smiled a little. "I feel okay." he said. I asked, "Then why are you here?" He looked at me and said softly, "I don't know." We sat in silence for a moment. Then he said, "I didn't come to talk about health." My heart skipped a beat. I stayed calm and asked, "Then what did you come to talk about?" He looked at me and said, "You." I froze. He said, "I like you. I know this is not normal, but I had to tell you. I didn't know what to say. I just looked at him. Then he said, 'You don't have to say anything. I just wanted to be honest.' He stood up. 'Goodbye,' he said, and walked out. I sat there, quiet, still. I looked at his file. I didn't know if he would ever come back. I didn't even know how I felt. But I knew one thing. He was not just another patient. After that day, I didn't see him again. His name didn't appear on the appointment list. Days turned into weeks. Every morning, I looked at the schedule, hoping to see his name. But it was always missing. I kept thinking about him, about his words, about the way he looked at me. It wasn't normal for a doctor to feel this way about a patient. I knew that. But it wasn't just about feelings. It was about something missing after he left. A strange emptiness. One evening, as I was closing the clinic, the receptionist came in and said, "Someone left this letter for you." I opened it. There was no name on the envelope, but I knew who it was from the moment I saw the handwriting. Inside was a short note. "I'm sorry for crossing a line. I didn't mean to make things difficult. You helped me in more ways than you'll ever know. That's why I came every week. Just seeing you gave me peace. I'm leaving town tomorrow. I won't bother you again. Thank you for everything." I read it again and again. He was leaving. I felt my throat tighten. I didn't know what I felt. Sadness, regret, pain. It was too late to say anything now. I kept the letter in my drawer. I told myself it was over. But something didn't let me forget. A month passed. Then one morning, as I walked into the clinic, I saw him, sitting in the waiting area. My heart jumped. He stood up when he saw me. He didn't look sick, just calm. I walked over and asked, "I thought you left." He smiled. "I did, but something brought me back." I asked, "Why?" He looked at me and said softly, "To ask if I could see you outside of this clinic, not as a patient, just as a person." My heart was racing. I said, "This is not easy. I'm not sure it's right." He nodded. "I understand. I just wanted to be honest again." We stood there for a moment in silence. Then I said, "Do you want to take a walk?" He smiled. "Yes." We walked outside, not as doctor and patient, but as two people trying to understand something new. It wasn't a grand love story. There were no big romantic scenes, but it was something real, simple, quiet. Over the next few months, we met often. We talked about books, music, life. He never pushed, never expected anything. He just listened. And slowly, I began to open up too. I told him about my stress, my past, the loneliness I never admitted to anyone. He listened the same way I had once listened to him. It felt safe. One evening, we sat by the lake. The sun was going down. He said, "I never thought someone like me could care about someone like you." I smiled and said, "I used to think the same." He looked at me and said, "So what now?" I looked at the water, the sky, then at him, and I said, "Now, we just keep walking. One step at a time,